Hello everyone, good afternoon. How's life going? I hope you are doing fine. So, my name is Tahid. I know most of you already. We have met already. Today we're going to talk about one important topic for you, Cardiff students. This topic is paraphrasing, okay? The art of paraphrasing. We already started something like that with the articles that we are sharing with you. And in these articles, you know, it's very important to paraphrase. And this is what we requested from you. So now the topic is the art of paraphrasing. Why is paraphrasing an art? Okay? Because when you give like 20 people one article or one essay that they need to paraphrase, you might find 20 paraphrases that are okay, that are acceptable or okay. But maybe you can find 3 or 4 of them that are really special, really interesting, right? So it is an art, and we are going to talk about this for today. In the end of this lesson, you will learn some things like, for example, you will learn how to paraphrase, you will learn some tips, you will know a lot of tips how to paraphrase, and in the end, you will have some kind of exercises. We have some good type of exercises. So for this kind of exercises, you're going to need a pen and you're going to need a notebook in front of you in order to try to interact. Unfortunately, in these online lessons, it's a bit difficult to be interactive, but I'm going to give you some time in order to try and to find a solution to the answers, okay? I'm going to give you a few seconds in order to find a solution. So the art of paraphrasing. Paraphrasing, what is paraphrasing? It is when you actually take some author's writing, or you take an essay, but you put this essay in your own words, all right? So when you take this essay or this article or this paragraph or whatever, and you write it down using your own ideas, your own words. Not your own ideas, only your own words, okay? But it must show that this is you who is actually writing, all right? So paraphrasing, let's see what's next. Many students make like a mistake between 4 different things, okay? There is paraphrasing, there is summarizing, and there's quoting, and in the end, the forbidden thing, which is plagiarism, all right? So paraphrasing, it means using someone else's ideas in your own words. Like I said, you are using your own words, you are using your own structures, your own grammar, your own everything, but the idea is not yours. The idea is for the real writer, the real author of that article, all right? This is what we call paraphrasing. Do not mix it with summarizing, all right? When you summarize something, actually, it is recap. You are recapping only the essential points of someone else's work. When the writer wrote something that is, for example, like 20 pages, all right? And you are summarizing the most important ideas in 1 page or 2 pages. This is called a summary, all right? So you are only making a short summary of a very big or very longer thing, all right? Or a writing, whatever. So you are using most important points, the most essential, most important ideas from maybe one article, very long article, or one very long essay. One more thing we have is quoting. You are using the writer's exact words, all right? When you use these exact words, mostly you have to use quotation marks. Always you have to use quotation marks. When you are using the everything word for word or letter for letter, all right? So when you use word for word or letter for letter, exactly the same, it must be quotation marks, all right? So with 1 and 2 and 3, in paraphrasing and in summarizing and in quoting, you have to cite in the end or in the beginning, blah, 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 said, somebody said. So you have to do a citation. It means you have to write the author and the book or the article or the magazine or newspaper or whatever. So you must give the resource of this article, all right? If you don't do that, you are going to be committing a crime, all right, which is plagiarism. This is a kind of something that is not acceptable. Plagiarism is when you take someone else's ideas and you put these ideas as if they are your own ideas, okay? So this is totally not acceptable. You can never do that, all right? Many universities can be like a serious punishment, can give you a serious punishment for that if you do plagiarism, all right? So never do that. Our main focus today is not about quoting, it's not about summarizing, it's about paraphrasing, all right? Let's go on. Why do we need paraphrasing? Maybe you have some ideas already. Paraphrasing, why is it important? All right. So quotes, you can use quotes sometime. Maybe if you're writing 2 pages, you can use 1 or 2 quotes, but you cannot use it all the time. You can use it rarely, okay? Sometimes, rarely, but not so many. If you write like 1 paragraph and you have like 20 quotation marks inside, it's totally, again, it's not acceptable. So you have to use your own. Your paper will sound like you. When you paraphrase, your paper sounds like you are writing this. It is your own thing, okay, when you are paraphrasing. This is why we need paraphrasing. It proves your level of understanding, all right? When you paraphrase, it means you understand what you're writing about. It understands what you're explaining. You understand that, all right? When you overquote, it is like a kind of plagiarism again, all right? You shouldn't like always use quotation marks and quote somebody. So again, we use paraphrase in order not to fall into plagiarism or overquoting, all right? You should force yourself to fully comprehend the material that you are paraphrasing, all right? Paraphrasing is used when you are studying, all right? When you go to your faculty after prep school, when you go to your faculty and you are studying something, it is one kind of technique to paraphrase, all right? So you studied one topic, for example, a few pages, you studied one topic, you should close the book, you can close the book, and after that, try to write it again. It shows how much you comprehend, how much you understand from that text, all right? So, how much you understand from the material that you are actually studying. If you paraphrase something and then you find that the original is totally different, it means you actually didn't understand what you are paraphrasing, all right? So understanding is a very important idea, and paraphrasing can help you do that. Next step is some tips for paraphrasing, all right? Some kind of advice, pieces of advice to paraphrase. We have some tips in order to help you. By the way, when you are watching or when you are following this kind of presentation, you can take photos all the time, and we're going to share this presentation with you on the system, okay, on our 6 system. So, number 1, first tip is sentence structure. When you are paraphrasing, a very good idea to do or to follow is sentence structure. It means you can change the sentence, you can change the grammar in the sentence, all right? Sentence structure, you can change the grammar, you can add modal auxiliaries, you can add relative clauses, you can add many things. You can make it passive, you can make it active voice, you can make it passive voice, you can change the grammar. Structure means grammar of the sentence, all right? Different starting point. If the sentence starts this way, or normally, you can start from the end. Or if you have like 4 sentences, you can start from the 4th sentence and then go back to the 1st or the 2nd. You can reorder, start from a different idea, different point, all right? You can use always synonyms and antonyms. You can use it when you are paraphrasing, all right? Use synonyms and antonyms. For example, like one example about synonyms, like amazing in English. It has so many synonyms. Why write the same word? Fantastic, marvelous, interesting, impressive. There are so many synonyms. Or write the negative, all right? Or write an antonym, all right, when you're talking about that. Combining or breaking up sentences. Again, it's a very good tip for paraphrasing. Combining means you have to, like for example, 2 short sentences or 3 short sentences. You mix them together, you combine them together, and you put them into one long sentence, all right? Or breaking up sentences, when you have like a very long sentence with a lot of relative clauses and many things, you can break it up into 2 sentences or maybe 3 sentences if it is so long, for example. And of course, one last tip is to change the word forms. Sometimes you have an adjective, you can put it as an adverb, or when sometimes you have one word you can use as a phrase. For example, illiterate. When you say illiterate, in the original paragraph it is illiterate. You can change it and you can use something else. You can use people who cannot read and write. Okay, illiterate. So you can change the word forms from word to word or from adjective to adverb or any kind of other form, all right? And again, you can change one word into a phrase, into a total phrase, totally different. So these are 5 very important tips for paraphrasing. How do we paraphrase? How do we paraphrase? So in the first step, we have reading the source. We have like 3 steps and 2 more tips here. First step is you have to read the source, the original source, carefully, and it is essential that you understand it fully. First, you have to read very carefully, and second, you have to understand this very well. Identify the main points and the keywords. When you are paraphrasing, You must identify what you're talking about, the main points in that paragraph or essay or article or whatever, and the keywords, the most important words, the things that you cannot change, all right? For example, if the text is talking about global warming, you cannot change it. You should always talk about global warming. Close the original text and rewrite it in your own words. When you read something and you understand this thing, all right, you should actually take some time. You should, for example, give it like 10 minutes, all right? Maybe put it aside, go do something, and then after 10 minutes, come and try to write it again, all right? You have to write it in your own words. After that, you can check if you can compare both paragraphs, if you have actually included all the important ideas that you wanted to do or not. The most important information, the essential information, all right? 2 more tips. Paraphrases should sound like your work. You cannot copy all the time. You cannot use the vocabulary, the exact structure all the time. So you can change the vocabulary, you can change the structures, all right? And you have, your reader must recognize as it is your work. It is you who is writing this, all right? Not anybody else's work. This is the paraphrasing strategy, one of these ideas. And of course, many students believe that using synonyms is actually enough, all right? Like they copy the whole text is the same, but but later on they change. They only add synonyms. They change some words. So that's not enough. That's not totally paraphrasing. That's not good, very good paraphrasing. All right? Do not do that. Do not only change words and say this is a paraphrase. It doesn't work this way. Some examples about our paraphrasing. All right? Let's keep it close here. So synonyms. For synonyms, you should find your own idea of that. All right? The hardest language to learn is Mandarin. For example, synonyms, what can we do? The most difficult language to master is Mandarin. So hardest became most difficult, okay? And learn became master Mandarin, all right? Mandarin is the most difficult to master. Here, what's the difference? Okay, we started from Mandarin, all right? The starting point is different. Mandarin is the most difficult to master, the most difficult language to master, all right? Of course, when you paraphrase, there are so many ideas, there are so many things that you can change. Like I said, you can find 20 different students doing 20 different paraphrases, but they are all okay, they are all correct, all right? So there's a saying in English, there is more than one way to skin a cat, all right? So it's a kind of a saying, you can do it in many different ways. Antonyms, again, one example, the man is short, you can say not tall, all right? Short or not tall. The school is far away, it's not near, okay? So you can use an antonym to explain that. The school is not near, the school is far away. It gives more or less the same meaning. It is one kind of paraphrasing. Phrasal verbs, again, you can use phrasal verbs when you are doing paraphrasing. She discarded her used lipsticks case in the trash can. Discarded can be threw away. She threw away her lipsticks, all right? So throw away or discard, synonym. Or phrasal verb, threw away, it means discard. General verb choose, you can choose different verbs, of course. The factory manufactures boxes, produces boxes. Manufactures, produces. Just choose different verb, okay? Produce is more, maybe like kind of more general, all right? One more example about changing one phrase into one word into a phrase. Or maybe again, you can change the opposite. You can change from one phrase into one, okay, word. Many people in Canada are bilingual. Many people in Canada speak 2 languages, all right? So speaking 2 languages and bilingual, this is a phrase explaining this one, all right? So you can give more explanation. You can open it up, all right? So one example, we don't have a lot of time for this one, so please take a photo of this one. If you're watching right now, take a photo. The time is a bit limited, all right? So we have one original text and one paraphrase. And here in this one, we only used synonyms, all right? So you can read it alone at home later on. So help, for example, we used good, okay? Exercise is good. Exercise is helpful. It can help. Alleviating, it means getting rid of stress. Only synonyms. Good way, all right? Good way. It means, again, it is perfect way. Lowering stress, reducing stress, again. So recommending, okay, suggested, it became suggested, but starting point is different. So research, studies, we used another synonym. Indicated, it shows us, it shows that, okay. handling stress or dealing with stress. Again, it's kind of different word, different synonym. Bloodstream, it enters, okay? It enters or it is released, it releases endorphins to the bloodstream or into the body, in the body, all right? So again, different kind of synonyms. This one is original, this one is the paraphrasing that we did. Models. Actually, there are so many structures that are useful when you are paraphrasing. Just one example, you can use relative clauses, you can use many things actually when you are doing that. You can use many things, but one idea here is models. Models are important, you know. Must, instead of must, you can use it's necessary. Instead of it's necessary, you can use must. It's your duty, you must, all right? You are obliged to, you must. Or you can change it. You can change it from here to there or from here there to here, all right? Mustn't, you can say it's forbidden or it's prohibited, or the opposite. When we will see the exercises, it's like it's prohibited, you must use it mustn't, you mustn't, all right? You are not allowed to. Can, you are allowed to, it is possible. When you say it's can, can't means it's not possible. You might think this is easy a little bit, but actually many people do not know how to paraphrase this one into this one. I added it here because it's actually important. Needn't, or actually don't have to, doesn't have to. It's not necessary to do that. It is necessary to do that. It is unnecessary or it's not necessary. Needn't or don't have to. Should, it is advisable. I advise you to, all right? It's advisable. And shouldn't, it's not advisable. It is inadvisable to do that, all right? So these are models, but there are, you can use active voice, passive voice, you can use relative clauses, you can use a lot of things to change the structure of the sentence in order to make that paraphrase. All right. Now we will go to some kind of exercises. I'm going to give you like practice about paraphrasing. I'm going to give you for every sentence like 10 seconds to think about it, or if you have your notebook and pen with you, just write it down. Try to write down the answers in 10 seconds. So we have some exercises. You have to start with they. Here, for example, we have to start with they. So I'll read the sentence. I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. Then I'll tell you the answer. All right? It's not possible for them to be late. They, not possible. What should we use? 10 seconds. It's not possible. They can't. Like we said, like we saw here, all right? It's not possible. Can't, right? They can't be late, okay? It is prohibited to take pictures in the museum. It is prohibited. How can we do that? Prohibited. People, 5 seconds. People mustn't take pictures in the museum, all right? It's necessary for Helen to attend the meeting. It's necessary. Where's necessary here? All right? So think about it this way. It's necessary for Helen to attend the meeting. Helen must, okay, attend the meeting. It is advisable for Ken to change his hairstyle. Advisable. I advise him. How can we do that? Think about it. Ken should change his hairstyle, right? Advisable, should. It's possible for us to go to the spa tomorrow. It's possible. Let me show you again. Possible, where is it? Here. So, we can go to the spa tomorrow, or maybe we may go to the spa tomorrow, right? It's possible, we may be, maybe. So some more practice about changing the sentence structure. In the first sentence, you have to use a modal verb. I'm not sure about the rain. 5 seconds. It might rain. Maybe it will rain. Again, there are so many different answers that are possible to use a modal verb, all right? Bring your umbrella, it might rain. In case, how can you add in case in this sentence? Think about it. In case it rains, bring your umbrella, okay? Or bring your umbrella in case it rains. allowed, in the following sentence, my parents let me go to the club on Saturday. Let me go, synonym. My parents allowed me, blah, 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 to go. As, you're going to use as in number 4. She is far more interesting than her sister. So, as, is it possible here? She is much more interesting. How can you use as? She's not as interesting as her sister, all right? Or her sister is not as interesting as her. Not, we need not in this sentence. 4, I started studying blah blah, and it's 3 p.m. and I keep on studying. So, I have studied for example, 10 hours. I have studied for 8 hours. You are not allowed to stay in the classroom during the break. Not allowed. You shouldn't, all right? You shouldn't stay in the classroom, or you mustn't. Maybe it's okay, acceptable as well. I started collecting stamps last month. Take up. Take up is a phrasal verb. What does it mean? It means starting a new hobby, all right? Starting a new hobby. So I started collecting stamps. I took up collecting stamps, all right? I took up collecting stamps. I'll help you, don't worry. Again, think about it. Need. You don't need to worry. I will help you. Don't worry, or you don't need to worry. Last example here, you can't leave. She hasn't blown out the candles yet. You have to use about to. About to, when you come like very close time to do something, time is really close to do something, you can say about to. I'm about to finish. How can you use it here? So, she's about to blow out the candles, okay? You can't leave. Not yet, about to. She's about to blow out the candles. Next exercise, a lot of practice for you. Take a photo of this one, it's not really difficult. You should use comparative or superlative, so I have never met such a silly person. She is the silliest person, it will be the silliest person. Never heard more stupid story, the most stupid story. So just you have to use comparative and superlative in kind of paraphrasing, all right? You are changing, I have never into a superlative, all right? This one is good, this example is good. When you don't sleep much, you feel tired. Do you know this kind of comparative? We have studied this before, right? The, blah, blah, the. There's a saying in English, the more the merrier. The more the merrier. It means the more people we have in this place, the happier we are, all right? So the answer is the less you sleep, or the more you, or the less you sleep, the more tired you are, all right? The less, or the more, it's acceptable. So this is one kind of comparative. We have some sentences that you can change into active voice, all right? These sentences are passive. Sometimes you have a passive sentence and you need to paraphrase. You can change the structure and make it into active voice, all right? So let's do some examples here. The UN yearly report hasn't been presented yet. So the verb here, the passive verb, is hasn't been presented, all right? So how can you make this sentence active voice? So the UN how can you start? How can you do it? Think about it. So the UN hasn't presented its report yet. Hasn't presented. Hasn't been presented. It is perfect for passive, so you should use the sentence perfect. Sue is getting her hair dyed tomorrow. Again, this structure is really good. When you get somebody else to do something for you, you have learned that, it is a kind of a passive. The hairdresser, it means the hairdresser is like you dyeing her hair. Dyeing, it means like adding color, all right? Adding color. So Sue is getting her hair dyed tomorrow. The hairdresser will dye Sue's hair tomorrow, okay? He will dye. Not die as death, okay? Dye means adding color. It's different spelling. Change into passive. All right? We have these sentences, they are active voice. Sometimes you have this in your essays, active voice, but you have to change it into passive in order to make some kind of paraphrasing, some kind of different structure. All right? So, Paul rejected Mandy's wedding invitation. He rejected. This is simple past, rejected. How can you make it into a passive voice? How can you change it? Mandy's wedding invitation was rejected. All right, was rejected. Again, we studied a lot of passive voice already in the past. So again, it is one kind of paraphrasing, using passive, changing the structure. All right, like we said, many things you can use: comparatives, superlatives, relative clauses, models, passive, active, changing many things you can do. This restaurant serves a cheap menu on weekends. Think about it. You can do this at home and you can share it with me later, all of them, if you want. The time is a bit limited here, unfortunately. A cheap menu is served, is served on weekdays, all right? A cheap menu is served on weekdays. So next step, this part is really good, it is really interesting. When you add linking words or transition words or signal words and mix two sentences, combine two sentences together, all right? In spite of, although, due to, let's try some of these examples as well. For example, I like this example. They had to close down the factory. They didn't sell as much as they produced. Since in this sentence, all right, it doesn't mean since August, since 2000, for example, since 2000. It means something different. It means giving an example, giving a reason, sorry. So it means giving a reason. So why they had to close? Because they are not selling enough, all right? So you have to use since in this sentence. Since they didn't sell as much as they produced, you need a comma, they had to close the factory. Since the hairdressers are closed, I cannot go anywhere. I cannot go and, for example, shave anywhere, all right? So since, it gives you a reason. So due to, again, it's some kind of result or reason between both of them. Whereas, all right, comparing two things, all right? Despite, Dan enjoys comedy films, he has no sense of humor. Despite his enjoyment of comedy films, again, you should add a comma, he has no sense of humor, right? So despite, it gives opposites. Again, like although, like in spite of. So despite is followed by a noun phrase mostly. So these are the exercises that we were going to do, okay, that we did. There are a lot of things that you can do. You can practice on this and you can share them with me as well. Let's do a quick review of the things that we did about paraphrasing. First thing you need to do, a quick revision, a quick review. You should understand what you are paraphrasing, all right? You should understand the sentence. You read a sentence or you read an article or you read an essay or whatever, paragraph. You should understand what you are going to paraphrase. You read it 1, 2, 3 times, okay? So after that, you must understand it. After that, you can start your paraphrasing. One more very important tip that we said is changing the wording. You can change from the word form, all right? You can change from phrase into a noun, for example, or from one noun into a phrase, illiteracy, like we said, some other examples, or for example, phrasal verb into a verb, different verbs, synonyms, antonyms, change the words. Restructure, reorder, like we said, reorder the sentences. If you have a lot of sentences, put them in different orders. Restructure, use some different kind of grammar, like we said, all these kinds of grammar, all right? Change them and use as much as you like, but again, you must keep the original idea. You cannot change the original idea when you are paraphrasing. This is, again, very important in the review. So that will be almost all right? I hope I can see you next, like really face-to-face. I want you to keep calm because I have a present for you in the end, all right? This present is kind of 2 worksheets that I will share with you on the system, on sticks. So since you are at home and you don't have many things to do, all right now, so keep calm and do this homework. It's kind of, like I said, it consists of 2 worksheets, and it is about paraphrasing. Like you have 50 or 60 sentences almost. So that will be all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Stay home and stay safe, all right?